Hello, everybody. I'm going to take a second just to wait a little bit to see if anyone hops on live. Otherwise, we will just dive on in. I'm gonna drink some of my water. I have a bunch of sticky notes today because that's how I figured. If you see the title of this video, of this Facebook Live, that's how I'm trying to keep us organized. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. I'm a little bit jet lagged. I just got back to Milan from the US and my timing is a little weird, but actually right now it's not so bad. Hi, Shania. I think I'm saying that right. Okay, so I'm gonna dive on in. If you don't know me, my name is Tess Wicks. I am the founder of Wander Wealthy. I'm a financial coach and content creator. I love talking about money, and I specifically work with high-earning millennials, either women or couples, on helping them manage their finances. And I love to help them really optimize the tools that are available to them to help them make better, smart, and savvy financial decisions. Hello, Sandeep. Thanks for joining today. So I want to share kind of my little secret, if you will, which is that I have 7 savings accounts. And I probably at this point have a little more because I have a business account as well. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to fully focus on just personal, but I'm going to share with you how to manage your finances if you can put together multiple savings accounts. So we're going to dive on into that, and that is pretty much why I have all of these different sticky notes here with me, because it'll help us get through that. So let me just make sure we have everything together. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is the reason why I manage my money using multiple bank accounts or multiple savings accounts, if you will. And that's because that I firmly believe we've always been learning the equation of managing money the wrong way. For the longest time, you hear or you just think, because I don't know if society tells us that or marketing tells us or what it is, but we always think that income minus our expenses equals savings. So whatever we make, we take out, we spend all this money, and then if we have anything left, we can save it. But if not, then we'll just see if we can do it next month. And I think that that is just so backwards, or maybe the way I think of it is backwards, but I think the way that I think of it is better. And the way that I think of it is income minus your savings equals what you get to spend. Now, I know you have some fixed expenses there that are pretty necessary, but for the most part, I think the reason why most people fail at saving money and achieving their financial goals is because they do not make their saving a priority. They choose to spend their money and then decide, like, okay, if I have anything left, then I'll save it. And that is just not the way I roll. So the way that I work with my clients and my students in my programs is helping them see that they need to make their savings a priority. And we often do that by opening up multiple savings accounts. Another thing that I really swear by and that I follow is that we need to give our money a purpose. So if you just have your money all in one big account, let's say you're saving money, you don't really have any direction of what you're saving it for, and it's just all going into one account, well then how do you know when you have reached your goals for smaller items? Or how do you know that you can take some of that money and it's not for something else? We don't really know. But if we give our money a purpose and we kind of divide it into these various accounts, whatever you choose to save for, then it's a lot easier to see, first, how we're making progress towards those goals, and second, then we know that money is specifically set aside for that specific goal. So now the money just doesn't fly out of the bank account because we have no handle on it. Now we know very specifically what it's for, how much we want to save for, and when we're going to achieve that so that we can then use that money for that specific thing. So I hope that this makes sense. It's a little bit vague, I know, because I'm just talking very generally about savings accounts and monies, but we're going to dive in right now. So now that you know the savings rule that I use, which is I make my money, I have an income, and then I set money aside in various savings accounts for these goals that I have, then whatever is left over are the expenses that I choose to spend. I can spend on whatever I want, as long as I'm setting this money aside for other things. So the 7 savings accounts that I have are we'll just start with number one because I don't want to overwhelm you. And I'm going to put them up here on this beautiful white wall. So the first one is the emergency savings fund. Let's see if I can get the right angle here. So the emergency savings fund, this is an account that everyone needs. And the reason is because, can you see that? There we go. The reason is because 6 out of 10 Americans cannot afford an unplanned expense of between $500 and $1,000. That means, what are their options? They're either borrowing that money and going into some sort of credit card debt, or they're using money that should be going to pay their bills. So then they have late fees or missed payments and whatnot. So the way we can combat this is we can build up a savings fund and get really disciplined that this account is specifically for our emergency savings. Now, I know I've talked previously in previous Facebook Lives on this channel, but also I'm sure you've heard from other financial experts, if you've done your own research, there are kind of rules of thumb of how much money you want in this account. But just to be brief, to make sure we cover it, it's generally 3 to 6 months of your fixed mandatory living expenses. So these aren't things like going to the movies or going out to eat, but things like your rent, your utilities, your insurance, debt payments, cell phone bill, things that you need to pay in order to keep your home, not have an interruption in that way, but that aren't extravagant, that aren't the additional fun things. So calculating that, what that is for 1 month, and then multiplying it by 3 or 6 can give you that goal amount that you want in this fund. The reason is because if the worst thing that could probably happen to us is we lose our ability to make an income. So let's say you get fired or laid off and you need to find another job. Well, now you have that buffer in this account that can help supplement your income while you're looking for that new job. Whether you go with 3 months or 6 months or 9 months even is up to you. You just need to determine how marketable you are, or maybe do some research or figure out how long you expect it to take for you to get a new job. That's how long you would need as a buffer in this account of just those standard fixed expenses. So that's number one. I think everyone could use this account. I have my own emergency savings fund, and I've gotten to the point where this account is fully funded for me. But if you aren't fully funded, just take the amount of money you need to top it up. So let's say you have to put an additional, let's make it easy, $6,000 in there to get to that level that you want to be at. And you want to do that by next year. So you have 12 months to do that. I would just take that $6,000, divide it by 12, so you're putting $500 away each month into this account. You have to make it a non-negotiable so that you can't spend that money, set it aside there, and then figure out what you can spend later. So this is one that I have. Right now, I'm actually not contributing to it because I have hit my goal. The way that you use this is if you do get yourself into an emergency, you access these funds, and then the next month or the next few months, you go back to putting money back into this account so you can get it back to that goal level that you had originally. So the second account, now that we have the emergency savings out of the way, and if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comment box. I will always come back later and answer them. If you have questions after the live recording is done, feel free to comment there. But moving on from the emergency savings is a fun, no, let's go with the not fun one. And this one doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, but it is important if it does apply to you. Personally, I have a taxes account. Because I am self-employed, I'm responsible for paying my own taxes. No one's taking that out for me. So right when I get paid, I move a percentage to my taxes savings account, and then every quarter I pay quarterly taxes. If you're making any sort of additional income that you need to pay taxes on, or maybe you are an independent contractor or self-employed yourself, you want to have one of these accounts. This account for me technically is now in my business bank account, but before I even started my business, I was making some income on the side that I needed to pay taxes on. So I have this account in my personal account as well for my personal bank, just in case I do get some income that I need to save some taxes for. So this is really important because we all know there's two certainties in life, death and taxes. So you got to pay that. That's not your money. So you might as well set it aside so you know you have the money to pay. You don't get to the end of the year and go, oh no, I don't have any money to pay this tax bill. So that's just one. It doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, but I wanted to throw that out there because it is one of my 7 savings accounts. Okay, now we'll move on to something that's a little bit more fun, but definitely mandatory. And that is weddings and gifts. So going to other people's weddings and buying them gifts or the travel, whatever it is, during the holiday season or during wedding season, this is an expensive time of year. I'm at the stage of my life where most of my friends are getting married, and I also, I personally celebrate Christmas, so during that winter holiday, I need to pay for traveling home and also buying my loved ones gifts. So a lot of people struggle with this because they get to the end of the year thinking, oh no, I don't have any money for gifts. I'm going to have to use a credit card or take money out of my emergency savings. I do not do that, and you don't have to either. Throughout the year, just set aside money into this weddings and gifts account. So what I do is I figure, okay, I want to spend about $600 in the summer months for weddings, travel. That includes traveling, buying gifts, so I really need to make sure I can stick within my budget, and if I can't, I don't go. So I'm pretty strict with this, but I set a budget for myself, and then I save. So $600 for the first 6 months, $100 each month goes into this account. And then I do $600 for the last 6 months, meaning I'll have $600 by Christmas time or winter holiday time where I can use that money to buy my gifts for my friends, family, and my 7 nieces and nephews. So I set $100 aside. I get paid, I take that money into the emergency savings, I make sure I save taxes, and I make sure I put $100 in here so that every single month that's adding up, and that when those expensive times of year come, I can make that payment. Okay, the other one is somewhat similar. This is what I call my semi-annual account or an annual account. I actually save for annual and semi-annual things in this account. I don't do too many things. I only have 2 things that I save for in this account, but they're big purchases that need to come out of my bank account, and I don't want them to have to come out of my checking account and have to keep that money in there and not really know what it's for until that time comes. I want to separate that out. So what this account for me is for is first my auto insurance. I like to pay every 6 months just so I don't have to worry about it. So every 6 months I save up how much my auto insurance is, I divide that by 6, and I put that into this account every single month so that at the end of the first 6 months, I can pay that auto insurance policy in full. Another thing I do and what I love is paying for annual memberships or subscriptions, things that will allow me to save some money if I pay in full for the entire year. I've actually done this with my gym membership where I could save between $25 and $50 a month if I paid in full for the entire year. So what I did was I calculated, okay, how much is that annual payment that I would be paying in full? And then I divide by 12, and that's my new monthly gym membership that instead of paying to the gym, because that wouldn't be enough if I was just paying monthly, I pay to my savings account. And then when I can pay that annual subscription or membership, I take it out of my savings account, and there I just saved myself almost $300 in the year. So this is a really fun account for me because it shows me ways I can save additional money, and it just makes sure that I can make those other big mandatory payments that I need to make. So whatever you have, it doesn't have to be auto insurance, it could be something different. It doesn't have to be a gym membership, it could be something different. But think about ways where you could save, pre-save for these things that are going to come out of your bank account regardless. Now you can be prepared for that. Okay, how are we doing on time? We're doing pretty good. The next thing that I have, and this is, now we're getting into the really fun stuff, and this is why I love managing money and in this way, and why I just love managing money in general is because I set these small goals for myself and then I can achieve them and treat myself with them. So this one is my annual non-negotiable goal that I have, and that is travel. Now for you, it might not be travel. It might be going to sporting events. It might be going to concerts or music festivals, whatever it is that you love to do every single year, this is an account, a great idea for a savings account that you can open. So for me, it is travel. Now, I set myself a budget. It's usually pretty in line with my actually holidays and gifts account, in that I make sure that I'm setting aside, actually it's a little more, I put aside $120 a month into my travel account so that every 6 months I can take a trip that's like $720 or something like that. And that is my travel budget then. So I save for 6 months and then I take a trip with the money that I've saved. And I just keep adding money to this account with every paycheck that I make, or monthly, I add it up for monthly and do $120 into here. And then I know that I have that money so that I can use it to travel. So whatever things that you are probably inevitably going to do, you might as well set aside an account for yourself to put money away for that thing, so that you don't have to scrape together money from other sources like next month's rent payment or a credit card or your emergency savings fund. Now you have a fund specifically for that goal that you have for yourself. Okay, so this is one of my favorite accounts. Again, it can be anything for you. Whatever hobbies you have, maybe you like to go to conventions or you like to take online courses, you can set that up for yourself and save there. Okay, the last two are my most favorite. And these aren't necessarily mandatory accounts, but I personally love them because they keep me sane when I am managing my money. So the first one is the Stupid Mistakes account. And yes, I have an account called Stupid Mistakes. I hate making little tiny stupid mistakes. And a lot of people would be like, well, why don't you just take money out of your emergency savings account, because they're probably unplanned expenses. But to me, I would rather have, the stupid mistakes for me are like things that cost less than $100. And so to me, that's not an emergency. It's not going to the hospital. It's not getting a flat tire. It's something that I probably could have prevented, like a parking ticket or a bank fee or some sort of late fee that I didn't get on top of. And I try not to, because I try to automate my finances, but sometimes things just slip under the rug. And so that is where my Stupid Mistakes account comes in. This is definitely not a mandatory account, but I personally love it because it helps with my mindset around my money. So when I walk out to my car and I see I got a parking ticket again, because when I'm not in Italy, I live in Chicago, and the parking there can be impossible sometimes. So if I see I got a parking ticket again, I take that parking ticket and I go, thank goodness I've saved for this in my Stupid Mistakes account. So I'll transfer this money into my checking account and pay that parking ticket, knowing that I've anticipated making stupid mistakes in my life. We all do it. We might as well have an account for it to cover it. It just makes you feel a lot better. And now you don't have to forego the, the dining out or the additional thing you were going to add to your grocery bill, or something you were going to do this month just because you made a stupid mistake. Now you have money for that, so you don't have to sacrifice something else. Okay, the last account that I have set up for myself, and mine is a little bit different, but this is what I would suggest for you if you wanted to do multiple savings accounts, is to have a fun account. And here is why. Again, not really mandatory, but I think it's so good for you from a money mindset perspective, from just treating yourself for being really good with managing your money perspective, is having a fun account. Now, personally, I have actually a profit account because I run a business, and I set a percentage of my income aside in my profit account, and then I use some of that money to treat myself. But if you are managing your own business of you in your personal bank account, then you can absolutely have your own profit or fun account. I would set aside, you can do a percentage of your income. It could be even a small percentage, but even a small percentage adds up. Or just a dollar amount that you are okay with setting that aside before you spend. And remember, this is all getting set aside before you spend a dime on your variable discretionary spending. So set aside money into this fun account. And then what I would do, and what I love to recommend to my students and my coaching clients, is that at the end of every 3 months, or at the end of each quarter, sit down and pull your money out of your fun account and do something fun. Treat yourself. Whether there's only enough money to buy yourself a coffee, so you go do that and do it guilt-free, or there's enough money to get yourself a massage or take yourself on a vacation or buy that new MacBook you've been eyeing, whatever it is, this is that money. You've managed your money, all of this money so well. You deserve this. And that's what I think some people get so caught up in feeling like they just need to save that they forget to have fun. So this is your reminder that you get to have fun when you're managing your money. It should not always be cutting things out or saving everything for a later date. You should see some rewards, and they're going to be small, but you deserve this. You need to treat yourself with that so that this whole process is sustainable and you stick with it. Okay, so those are my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got them all, my 7 savings accounts. And this is what I do to manage my money. I make sure that my goals are being taken care of before I go and I spend any money. I also have some investment accounts that I take care of. And if you had debt, you would add that here. They're not necessarily savings accounts, but they're additional accounts where your money should go before you go and spend it on this, that, and the other thing that is something you make choices on a daily basis to spend. So take care of these goals, these things that you have in mind, these things you want to take care of for yourself before you go and spend that money. Now, one last thing I wanted to mention is that there are absolutely banks out there that offer free multiple savings accounts. And so do your research and find banks that don't charge you a monthly fee, don't charge you or don't require you to have some minimum balance. There are plenty of banks out there that allow you to open up as many savings accounts and even as many checking accounts as you want without additional fees, additional costs. And that's really what you want to look at. So go out and find those banks, and then you can start setting these up for yourself. You can even keep your hometown bank, you can keep this other bank over here and transfer all this money. And that might even make it better for you, because then you're not going to be tempted to go dip your toes in these bank accounts, in these savings accounts, when you haven't reached your goals yet. So that is my parting words of advice. Shania, thank you so much for tuning in. Maria, you too. Everyone, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you can implement this and go and make some smart and savvy financial decisions. If you want more from me, you can come to wanderwealthy.com or check out the Facebook page. It's linked in the description, and come join in on more conversations. All right, I will see you all next time. Bye.